Because, bro, the thing is, as human beings, we realize history has a play on the future, both the present and the future. It's a subconscious thing at the back of our mind. I cannot enter a business with a thief or a fraudster.
Fair.
It's the same thing. I do believe marriage constitutes for that. We entering an agreement.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I don't think anyone will sit across the table with a well-known fraudster.
A repentant thief.
Even if he's repentant, what do they say? A tiger does not what? Change its spot. He's making the rounds on the internet. And for the most part, a lot of gents have been accusing him of pandering to the ladies. So he's more like the Derek Jackson character.
Okay.
Yeah, remember Derek Jackson?
Yeah, I remember him well.
You guys can go check out the videos we've done on Derek Jackson. So he's more like Derek Jackson, but just that Derek Jackson is handsome, is more appealing to the ladies, and smart, smooth, and yeah.
Pause, and all that. But anyway, yeah.
No homo.
Yeah, we get you now.
Yeah, but you get me. Yeah, no homo.
I think it's like politically incorrect to say no homo these days. So we just say pause instead.
Oh, we said pause?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay, pause. Yeah,
Okay.
pause. So that's Derek Jackson, but this guy is the South African panderer.
Okay.
I can't even compare him to Derek because...
But like he does the same thing.
Yeah, no, but Derek was a bit obvious and smart in his approach. This one is a bit like, bro,
Brash.
you are just like outrageous now.
Okay, now let's hear what he's got to say.
Okay, so these are his points.
Her past mattered. Because, man, I feel for this brother.
The fact that men are still this fragile in 2025 is honestly embarrassing. Imagine being so insecure that you're threatened by the idea that a woman had a life before you. Are you that weak? It can never be me. You're so afraid of being compared to someone else that you'd rather erase her past instead of stepping up and being the kind of man she wants to be with. But here's the thing. If you're that worried about being compared to her exes, maybe the issue isn't her past. It's your poor self-esteem. You need to level up as a man. And instead of blaming women for your insecurities, maybe it's time to look in the mirror and do some work. If you're that threatened by the idea that she had a life before you, then you're not ready for a relationship. Relationships are for grown-ups, not little boys who want to gossip about a woman's body count. A secure, confident man doesn't need to worry about his woman's past. Work on your poor self-confidence and your poor self-esteem before you start judging a woman's past. And to the ladies, don't let anyone shame you for your past. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you lived your life. The right man won't care about your history. He'll care about your future. And if he's too busy obsessing over your past to see the value that you bring, then maybe he's not the one, period.
You know, there's things that you can obviously disagree with, right?
Yeah.
And things that you can, or I can agree with at least.
Okay.
The disagreement point would be where the last part, right? Like, don't let anybody tell you about your past, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Who am I to judge, right? But like, if we're going to build something together, right, it would be at least comforting to know that the past is well and truly the past and we can leave it there and it doesn't need to creep back up into our lives and stuff. Yeah. Fine, right? Okay. As for him telling gents that, you know what, if you do care about a woman, you shouldn't worry too much about like her past
you caring too much about a person's past is actually an indication that you
of poor self-esteem
and you lack confidence.
I wouldn't say poor self-esteem and lack of confidence.
What would you say?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm stumped. I don't want to say it's poor self-esteem because like we are inquisitive as men.
Bro, it's not about poor
Naturally,
self-esteem,
right?
Bro.
I don't know if poor self-esteem is the right phrasing for that. Because, like, some things he can say, like, some things he said, I agree with. The fact that relationships is for grown-ups. Like, if you want to be talking about a girl's body count, etc., 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 maybe don't get into a relationship, right? Like, maybe that's not for you. But, like, I'm not so sure about, poor self-esteem.
No, but, I mean,
blame it on you.
But think about it. Some people want to know because you want to know the person you're with and their level of maturity and judgment.
Sure.
Another thing is people forget. I do understand, and I think I know where he's coming from. He's trying to pander to the woman, or he's trying to diminish the worry a lot of men tend to carry, right? Which for the most part I think is somehow a double standard to some extent, because you cannot have a high body count as a guy and judge the next person for having a higher body count.
True.
As a woman, yeah, you can. I mean,
Double
you can't.
standard,
It's a double
obvious-
standard.
obvious
It's like,
one,
okay,
yeah.
cool. What is this? You have, she has. But the fact that he's telling man, because remember, he's speaking to all man.
He's speaking to the guys now.
He's speaking to all man. I think it's unfair for a person who does not have a high body count to hear this message. Someone telling them,
Like grow
you
up.
shouldn't grow up. Like, you worrying about the next person's body count is actually a sign of immaturity and a sign of lack of self-confidence. That's funny. That's actually crazy. Because a lot of people, I think, as a man, if you are in that position, you didn't really explore like that. I think you have a right to your preference as well.
Oh, for sure. Preference. I think that's the key word right there.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah.
Preference.
You have a right to your preference.
To each their own. And in saying that, you should be. I think this is where emotional intelligence comes in, right? If you do find somebody that ticks all your boxes,
Yeah.
being a man who hasn't explored, right, sowed their wild oats, etc., and you are curious that they might have explored, or maybe they tell you that they did explore, right?
Yeah.
Then that's where it comes down to: do you personally want to continue, right?
Rightfully so.
Rightfully-
That person
yeah.
has the right. Such a person in such a position actually has the right to choose to say yes or no, and we cannot shame them for it.
You can't. That's for sure. Like it's personal preference,
And it
if
applies-
You know what you know. That's fine. Cool.
And it applies to the woman as well.
Both ways.
Yeah, if you're
That's
a woman
fair.
and you've never really explored like that, and you find a guy and you're well aware that he has explored, of course you shouldn't say yes, because for the most part, bro, a person's history, a person's past tend to tell of their mental disposition, where they are at, their ability to make decisions, their level of confidence, and it somehow, to a large extent, predicts their future behavior and future actions.
To an extent,
'Cause-
I mean, but like, don't you think people can learn and unlearn? Because like,
How do you trust the next person has actually learned and unlearned? How do you measure that?
you can't.
Exactly.
But at the same time, this goes back to the person asking the question as well, right? Like, if you are, for lack of a better phrase, stuck in your ways, in that you would insist that obviously it's your preference. Right? It's your preference.
It's your preference, yeah.
If you would insist that yes, my person needs to have a low body count, etc., etc., etc.
And I think it's not only limited to a low
It's
body
not,
count.
of course not,
because
of
overall
course
he
not,
generalized it within the issue of the woman. So if your woman was a thief, you should take that into consideration. If your man was an armed robber,
But
I mean,
people do change, don't they?
they do change, but supposedly you're a woman and you go on a date and this guy opens up and he tells you that he's a sex offender. And not only on one occasion, multiple occasions.
Yeah, that's
Like-
information. You do with that as you will.
Would you stay? Bro, would you stay?
No, but like I'm informed in that place, right?
Yeah.
The question then, the follow-up questions would be, so what changed?
Exactly. But how would you feel if that person goes on 2 years later, 4, 5, and they tell you that that's the incident? You're getting to find out
What do you mean?
that they are sex offenders.
2 years into the thing.
3 years.
Does that actually matter at this point?
It does matter.
I don't think so.
Bro, you're getting to find out that this man has multiple cases.
Okay, so that means if that thing weren't brought up, you could have gone for longer.
You could have gone for longer, but you're getting to find out.
No, but that's the point though, right? Like you've gone for that long, yeah?
Look, you had the time where you talked about your guy's history.
Okay, fine.
Right?
Fine.
The person did not disclose that.
Sure.
It's
no
like the
problem.
whole thing of people not disclosing their health, their health,
status,
their
whatever.
status. That's crazy. Why do people get offended by that?
You know what? That's a touchy issue, right? Like really, really touchy.
But it's again, it speaks to a person's past. I think that's what he's failing to understand in this. I mean, when you talk about a person's past, the only issue is he summarized it in body counts. It's not
It's
only
a lot
body
more.
count.
It's a lot
Body
more.
count. There's a lot of things you take into consideration. Who's this person? Where's this person been? What have they done?
But like, do you want to date them now or the past version? What do you like? Because I'm trying to figure out, like, for sure, the
Yeah.
past can predict what will happen next, for sure.
Okay.
Right? But so can the present. Right?
But how do you measure? The problem is, how do you measure? We do not know, right? We do not know whether this person has changed.
But we can give them benefit of the doubt, can't
You
we?
give them benefit of the doubt and you get stabbed in the back.
But why do we count on getting stabbed in the back?
I'm just saying, you get stabbed in the back. Who's to blame?
That's a risk you're gonna have to take, I guess.
But then again, the person will be like, I took my advice from Tetwa.
Yeah, Mteto gave me advice, but like it's advice, right? You can either accept or reject, and if something happens, disclaimer, right?
But then again, I think his advice or his point of view is actually coming from a place that does not correlate with reality.
Do you think so?
I do believe so.
Okay, but like, let's say, right, you were informed about a woman's past, like everything, let all her skeletons out.
I do not need to know everything. I think it depends on what you want to know as a dude.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you asked the questions.
Yes.
And you got the answers that you needed to.
Yeah.
Suppose your relationship was smooth prior to knowing what you knew. Would it change based on that information?
Yes, it will. Completely.
Why?
It will throw you off.
But like, why though?
Because you are human.
Yeah, but
if
why?
it's sensitive information, okay, let me say you disclose that, oh no, I used to be a petty thief, right?
Yeah, fine.
And I've seen that throughout the course of our relationship or whatsoever, you never disclosed it, right? But I've seen that, I know you don't do that anymore. I think it won't do something. It won't. I don't think it will change my perspective of you. But if it's something that I hold dear, it's a law and it's a rule that I hold dear, that my person should meet this particular standard, and you are only getting to tell me
now,
it will definitely do something to me. Supposedly, I meet a woman and she tells me she has no child. Fine. 3 years down the line, she tells me, oh no, I have 3 kids from 3 different men.
Obviously, that would change things.
That's what I'm saying.
But like, what if you weren't interested in that fact when you guys got together?
If I was but that one will do something definitely.
For sure. That one, for anybody, bro. Like,
anybody. That's what I'm saying. It depends on the man and what they deem as virtuous and what they're looking for. It depends on what you are looking for. If the information was not disclosed from the get-go and it was just hidden, even though questions were asked, if it gets brought up later, it's going to definitely do something. So the advice he's giving is very lethal. It's nice on paper, but in the long run, it's going to jeopardize your relationship. If the next person gets to find out and you realize what they're getting to find out is very dear to them, like it's something they value and they can't compromise on. It's non-negotiable. Yes.
If it is someone's non-negotiable, that obviously is something that, you can't go around that. Right?
That's it.
If it's a non-negotiable, guys, I'm sorry, you can't.
So do you see why the advice is not really applicable?
Yeah, it's general. But what if it's something that's not major? What if it's like, again, it's the situation where had you not known the information, right? I think the question is, if the relationship was still okay, like it's fine, everything is good, and then a piece of information comes.
If it was not a non-negotiable, it's a negotiable or non-negotiable.
Suppose but like, let's say it's a non-negotiable, right?
Yeah.
But then you've been together for 15 years. At that point, does it even matter anymore?
It does matter, bro. I've seen,
bro?
trust
15
me,
years.
I've seen a lot. The thing is, I've seen a lot of testimonial where men get wrecked, bro, finding out.
Yeah.
A lot of men actually say, this person trapped me. A lot of men, bro.
Okay.
There's a particular video I think we're going to react to. A lot of men tend to cry that, to say, this person actually trapped me.
But can you not get over it, bro? Like,
bro, there are certain non-negotiable to people that it's the core. It forms a part of their identity. It's who they are.
But like, also, yes, and for sure, like, non-negotiables do form us. But there is room for
compromise,
for dynamism and compromise in there.
I know there is room, but that's going to take time.
For sure.
Remember, the person has just wrecked you. It's going to take time. And I think for the moment, you see how bad it has put a stumbling block in your relationship already. And it was going so smoothly for 15 years.
But what if it doesn't put a stumbling block in your relationship?
Then the person is very mature. But remember, we can't somehow assume. We can't assume that everyone, or generalize the fact that everyone has the same level of maturity.
But that's where I disagree with Mteto largely, because in his like, I'm not reading his mind, but like, here's what I'm hearing.
No,
right?
mind you see this train of thought. It's the same train of thought. It carries throughout all the videos he presents.
Yo, but like that's what I'm disagreeing with. His
Yeah.
train of thought, or at least this is what I'm hearing. You can correct me if I'm wrong, sir. Please do hit us up in the comment, or you guys can.
Why do weak men obsess over a woman's past? Because they need a woman with zero experience so that she doesn't realize just how mediocre they are. That's just sad. The only reason you want a woman with no experience is because you're scared she'll compare you to someone who's better than you. Weak men love to talk about standards when it comes to women. But where are those standards when it comes to themselves? You want a woman who's pure, untouched. But what about you? What about your past, your mistakes? Your double standards are a joke. You want a woman who's never lived, but you're out here living your best life, making mistakes, and expecting her to just accept you for who you are. Nah, that's not how this works. So here's my final message to all the weak men. A woman's value isn't determined by her past. It's determined by who she is today and what she will build with you in the future.
What I'm hearing is that many men, by that the majority, yeah,
He's actually put every man in the same box.
many men are immature, and I'm saying no. In fact, there are many men who are mature where something like that would not be that deep to the point where my what was the word he used, that my fragile self could not heal from.
Yes.
That's the thing I have against that, right? Like honestly,
It's the generalization.
Many people could put it past them, bro. It's like, okay, she's got 50 bodies. Alright, cool, that's in the past.
No,
Alright,
that's
let's move with it.
that's for you as a dude, but for me, it depends on what you're looking for. Remember,
For sure.
because scripture
Preferences.
says what the scripture says: "He who finds her
A wife,
finds her
a good thing,
and
and obtains
obtains
favor from the Lord.
Exactly.
Amen
For
to
as a
that.
man, you go looking for. And the one thing we know, when a person goes searching for something, they've purposed it in their heart that when I find this thing, I will know it's this particular thing.
True.
Because there are a lot of women, and there are a lot of women in this world. So when you see your wife, you will know.
I don't think I agree with that, bro. I feel like you need
What?
to find out.
What do you mean? But you know as a man, you've purposed it.
Like,
as a
this
man.
is my wife.
No, but you will know. You study the person and all. I'm saying
Okay, fine,
you've
fine,
purposed
fine,
it
fine.
as you went to search. You've purposed it to say these are the
qualities I'm looking for.
exactly. So when you see her, you will know her. That's what I'm saying.
You'll know that she meets the criteria.
Yes,
Sure.
yeah, no, that was figuratively.
Of
It
course,
was
yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah.
direct. I see it, and I'm like,
Nah,
that's the
my
one.
wife.
No, that was
Yeah.
figuratively. Like,
Yeah.
based on the criteria and everything. Yes.
Because I don't believe in soulmates, right? I think
Same
I
here.
told
No,
that.
you know I don't
Yeah,
believe in
no,
that.
I don't
So
think that exists.
yes. So as a dude, right? Did I lose my train of thought? But yeah, as a dude, everyone is going into this world and they're gonna find that. So the mere fact that he summarized it and somehow generalized it is so unfair to a lot of men. But there are certain people with their values, right? And where they are at in this life, and they're not even being hypocritical about it, will say, no, this is not for me. So now imagine you lie to them about a non-negotiable and they only get to find out later that you lied to them.
Can't happen, bro.
Stumbling block. They are not mature like that. It can't go forward. So the mere fact that he expects every man to somehow compromise on that, it's flipping crazy. And calling a person who stands and adheres to their standards immature is just an immature take on his part.
It's ironic.
It's very ironic. It's like, okay, brother, so you would take that. And for the most part, I think most people on social media will just blab. In reality, they would never do that. I think that's why you need to be very careful as a person listening to not just take any sort of advice and compromise on your values, because there are certain values you should not negotiate with. Otherwise, it's gonna eat you so hard that in the forefront. You know, I read the story. Yeah, there's this particular channel I think I've been watching a lot. John Deloney show.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's it about?
People call in and they talk about their issues. I think we reacted to one of the videos.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
guy
yeah.
that got cheated on.
Exactly. So people tend to call in, and like I really do enjoy. Both men and women tend to call in. And in the comment section, a lot of people leave their story. Okay. Yeah. There was a man who stated that I forgot the episode, but there was a man, I think we're going to react to it. There was a man who stated that he was married to his wife for 25 or 20 years. And he got to find out that she had a wild past. Okay. And he never had.
And he didn't have a wild past.
And she lied to him.
Did she tell him she didn't have a wild past?
She told him that. Only
Okay.
later. And he was not one of the guys. I don't know what topic it was, but I think the guy called in stating that the wife lied to him or something like that. Then a lot of men started leaving their stories. Bro, it went on and on and on. Other ones were saying, I've been married to my wife for 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, and I felt betrayed. I felt trapped.
Because they found out something.
They
about
did
their
not
past.
tell me everything I needed to know, even when I asked.
Okay, then that I can see how that constitutes betrayal.
is
because
betrayal.
It's I asked the questions and you withheld that information.
Yes.
That's betrayal.
It is betrayal.
But if it's something that you found out later, right? Let's say it wasn't something that you were worried about from the onset, and then later you found out about, and it's been 25 years, I'd say it's not that deep.
I know, for you, for some people, it might still be that deep.
I think for a lot of people, it needs to stop being that deep, bro.
But I mean, if it's a non-negotiable, bro, it can be actually that deep.
But like, think about it. Think about it. If we are gonna hold on to so many things, yeah,
Yeah.
do you not see that we kind of limit ourselves in a way?
It's not even holding on to certain things, to a lot of things. You find out everything has been going okay. Because, bro, the thing is, as human beings, we realize history has a play on the future, both the present and the future. It's a subconscious thing at the back of our mind. I cannot enter a business with a thief or a fraudster.
Fair.
It's the same thing. I do believe marriage constitutes for that. We entering an agreement.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I don't think anyone will sit across the table with a well-known fraudster,
A repentant thief.
even if he's repentant. What do they say? A tiger does not what? Change its spot.
Where do we make room for forgiveness then?
I do understand, but that's not mine to say. And it's for me to see. But the probabilities, I'm not assured because I'm not the next person. So I cannot measure their change. Neither can I measure how do you measure how much they've changed? How do you measure if their heart is really repentant? That's the problem. I think for the most part, most men tend to worry about that. It's not about your mistakes that you did. It's what's the probability that what you did in the past will not replicate itself in the agreement that I've made, which of course compromises my trust, feels like betrayal.
But like, also, can you see how that's a bit dangerous? Because if, let's say, suppose, and it's fair, we can't measure how much someone's changed, right?
We can't.
But what if they have genuinely changed? But then the crazy thing is, in you constantly putting that mirror to them, you're not doing much changing either. And whether or not you like it, you are your own worst enemy now. Because, like, you're making this grander than it needs to be.
Okay, it's
by
not
your
even,
refusal to change.
okay, it's not even me refusing to change because I have nothing to change. It's just
No,
I
but
have,
you do, bro.
No, but think about it. No, we have standards, bro. I'm bringing standards to the table, and I'm saying my non-negotiable is a trustworthy partner,
Exactly.
right? Because I'm trustworthy. You can trust me, right? Look at my track record.
True. Fine. Fair enough.
Great.
Fair enough.
Look at my track record. Now I'm looking at you.
And you're falling short.
You are falling short on that track record. Me trusting you, I'm putting myself at a risk of getting disappointed, getting betrayed, getting robbed.
So if you're the standard bearer, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Could you not put in new rules and or standards to accommodate this person?
Yeah, which is compromise. But remember, it's compromise that comes at a risk. That's what most people are afraid of. That's what I'm trying to state.
Okay.
Most people are not afraid to the trusting and everything.
I get you.
Right?
Yeah.
Most people are worried about people's past for the most part because they are afraid that it will replicate. Because, yes, I can marry a woman who, supposedly I met a woman who she used to be in the street, a night walker.
Or let's say she did drugs or whatever.
Okay.
At some point.
Let's say she did drugs.
Okay.
Right? Let's say she did drugs, defrauded a lot of guys with drugs and stuff like that. Fine. Do you realize I'm putting myself at risk?
What if she's gone to rehab and she's clean now?
There's always relapse. Do you see? Me trusting her, I'm putting myself at risk of being disappointed and everything.
True.
But who wants to like build like that? A lot of people don't want the probability of that coming back. I'm going to have to deal with a lot. My car getting sold, furniture's getting... You never know. That's the thing. I think that's where most people come in. So The mere fact that you approach it in this way and say, no, but let no one tell you about, no, you need to. I think this is the part where I watched a lady talk about this. It says, that's why, guys, you need to have clean past. Have a past that you can explain.
Goes for everyone. But at the same time,
it goes to everyone. Have a past that you can sit down with a person and break it down, and there won't be any shame in that.
True. I guess that's fair enough, right?
It is
if
fair
we are
enough.
going to speak about our past, the least we can do is be very upfront.
That's the thing.
About
And,
it.
and so I was like, it'll be very hypocritical. On the part where I agree with him, it'll be very hypocritical for a man with a high body count to stand and point at someone else and judge them. Because it's like, wait, what are you doing?
The blind leading the blind.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like, you have no right. So if you're a man and you're screaming at what he's saying, it's like, okay, it's crazy. But I'm speaking for people who are in a position where they hold standard and they've adhered to their standard for the longest.
True.
Yeah. So that's where the part where I say falls short, because he generalized it. You're not supposed to generalize. Speak to the people and be direct about it, and do not tell people to compromise on their values.
Yeah, that's wrong. I think the reason we have values is because it kind of gives us like a guideline on how we want to conduct ourselves.
True.
And we should be allowed to uphold values. Similarly, we should be allowed to adjust said values from time to time and make allowances, right? Whether or not those allowances are going to come back to bite us is another question. But yeah, for sure, I think maybe the message could have been a bit more directed.
It's never direct, by the way. I watched most of his videos.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I actually watch most of his videos. He's always pandering to the woman and beating down the man. So there's no middle ground with this guy.
Oh, jeez, that's crazy, eh?
Yeah, which is crazy, right?
Big time.
Which is so crazy,
Big
because
time, bro.
he tells men, why you complaining about a woman having, there's no problem in becoming a stepdaddy.
No, that means that's what he's into. Let him do that.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of ladies actually disagree with him.
Yeah, no, but I'm sure there would be people who disagree, as there would be people who agree
with him.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, he's a lot of rage baiting.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how this would get people riled
Yeah,
up.
it's actually a lot of rage baiting. I've seen it. I was like, nah, this dude is too smart for this point. I give him a benefit of a doubt. He's actually too smart to drift to grift like this, because he's coming off as a grifter.
Call him a grifter. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, no. To some extent, like, it's like, okay, bro, like,
we see what you're doing.
we see what you're doing, and I understand
it's not for you.
It's not for you, bro. It's not for you.
You can
but
do better.
like, you're too smart for this. But then again, I understand. It's like, make your bread and become famous, and just make sure you adhere to the same standards you're preaching in real life, and let us see it.
But you don't even have to, bro. It's content, right?
It is content. So yeah, so he does get a lot of people's feathers ruffled up, and that's it. Any last words?
Nah, not from me.
No last words?
Yeah.
So that's it, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave your thoughts below. We really appreciate it. And tell us what you think about this whole thing. So yeah, and I guess we'll be seeing you on the next one. Ciao.
Bye.